Welcome to the mystical land that is joannaland. I am your host, Joanna Dreiling, and I am beyond excited to be on this journey of transformation over a lifetime with you. This is a space dedicated to your highest evolution and our collective igniting a deeper humanhood. Let's roll, baby. Hello, my love. I honestly, once again, cannot believe it has been as long as it has that I have not been on this mic. June was the wildest whirlwind of my life, almost. That's so not true because I have lived nomadically for years now, but my gosh, my goodness. And today, I honestly have no idea what I want to actually dive into today. I am just here on the mic. I felt inspired to show up here. And also I know that I want to and need to be showing up here more because this is honestly my primary way of connecting with my audience. And it's something that I want to continue building. And I, as you know, absolutely love this podcast, no matter how much I may find myself in resistance to showing up to the mic. But again, as always, it's those big points of resistance are exactly where we are meant to go. And yeah, so I feel like what would be best at this point in this journey, some of the most recent episodes, not the most recent episodes, but some of the ones from 2023, I'm out here on my digital nomad journey and I'm oh my gosh, yes, we are not running away and we're actually going and doing the thing. And then this breakup happened and the most intense grief portal of my life occurred. And I basically have been stationary here in Virginia in Roanoke since October of 23. And it's really funny because the desire to travel will never not be there. The desire to travel alone for months at a time, no longer there. I love the notion of being a digital nomad and I really particularly love the notion of being able to work from wherever and be in beautiful environments, experiencing new things, new cultures, new people. And the journey of being a digital nomad and being on your own, especially doing that just solo, is really tough. And it is immensely glamorized on the internet. And everybody is oh my gosh, yes, let's go do this. Let me work remotely so I can go travel. And y'all, I just need us to take a step back for a brief moment and ask ourselves why we're doing this. Ask ourselves why you want that and what the frickin' frack you are running away from in that process of not actually staying where you are and rooting down. I understand why I had to leave Grand Rapids. There's plenty of reasons why I had to leave Grand Rapids. And now after this breakup, it officially feels like this chapter is closed. I do leave to go visit there in a couple of weeks. Please pray for me because Lord have mercy, it might be the toughest 3 weeks of my life in a really long time, which I've experienced some rough weeks these last couple of months, these last half a year. And, but I'm just aware that it's a triggering environment. And it's interesting because the way that I coped with that previously was drinking. And guess who's not drinking even still? I am almost at the half-year mark. I'm so proud of myself. Can't even tell you. But there's plenty of reasons why I need to leave Grand Rapids and why that was no longer the place that I was meant to be rooting down. And even still, I've been rooted in Roanoke for almost a year, it feels like. And I'm still not totally convinced that this is the place that I'm meant to be rooting. But what I do know is that in our pursuit of wanting to travel and in our pursuit of being a digital nomad, and in that sense, it's we are running away from something. Period. Every single digital nomad you know is running away from something. A lot of them, I can guess, also estranged from their families or do not have good relationships with their families. And wow, if I could tell you the greatest blessing of me moving away from Grand Rapids, of me also not leaving Roanoke now for almost a year, it is that my relationship with my family is the best that it has ever been. That also might be partially a result of the fact that I have very few friends at this point in time as a result of leaving Grand Rapids and of the grief portal that occurred. It just made it really clear to me who's actually a friend to me and who's not. And I'm keeping the people who are actually friends to me closer. Close. And then those other people, like, some I've totally let go of, and others you just are where you are, and I'm mirroring where you're at. So I don't really have a lot of friends. So, it would make sense in that sense that my family is becoming more of my friend. And my mom has always been one of my closest friends. It's also her birthday today. So happy birthday to Helene. But also, part of my intention in moving away from Grand Rapids and parting ways from the place that I'd spent at this point all of my adult life living in, other than when I went nomadic in 2018, it was partially to be closer to my family and to be able to deepen and cultivate my relationships with them. Because there was this point where I'd done so much healing on my own in Grand Rapids, and I'd moved through a lot and like really unpacked a deep amount of trauma, even just on my own without a therapist, at least, having some coaches there within that. But I knew at some point at the end of 2022 that it was finally time for me to come home. And for me to come home to start healing with my family near me and with me and beside me, and getting to see truly how I've changed, but also just getting to be around them more. As much as we might find ourselves in resistance to our families, as much as we might, as digital nomads want to run away from everything and avoid all of the things, I chose to run straight into that and to basically, especially in this last 6 months, really just push myself and really just like, honestly, there was a pull forward more than a push, to really take the time to be with my family and to heal with them. And I might have mentioned this in the last episode. I might not have, but I'm sober for all right now, like alcohol sober, let me be clear. And it's funny because prior to this, I would always find being with my family triggering enough that I would cope with alcohol. And then and then it also exacerbated the triggering. Like, it didn't make things any better. And I was like, but then I find myself now sober, enjoying being with my family and actually getting life out of being with my family because they're who I can be most authentic with. And the point that I was trying to make before I veered off into my tangential direction is that as much as we might hate our parents, one or the other, maybe even both, for what they have done for us in our lives, done for us or lack thereof, or the lack of support that they have shown us, they are still your parents. They are still your family. They are still your blood. And I'm not recommending, if there's super amounts of abuse and trauma, that you just run back in there. But I'm saying that forgiveness needs to be in the room because you chose them. Your soul chose their souls so that you could learn particular things. And I can guarantee those particular things were not to run away from those problems and were not to run away from the family trauma. Again, not recommending you run right into it either. But all I am saying is that your parents and your family are people that you chose to do life with. No matter how much they might infuriate you and no matter how much you might not like it, they are who you chose to do life with. And I think that's the funniest thing to me, to bring it back to where we even started this, is that like the desire for me to run away and just travel the world no longer is so full of fire as it was now that my relationships with my family has been more healed. And it's fascinating that it's like, oh, there is a wanting to root down present more than there ever was, because one, I'm also at the point where I'm wanting to build my own family and create my own family. I'm old enough. I really do want a child. Like, Lord have mercy. I'm just meant to be a mother. Anyways, my loins are going nuts with all these kids running around. Anywho, and I'm not out here trying to preach and tell you to run back to your family. I mean, in some ways I am. In what I am saying is that if you feel strife towards one parent or both of your parents, you need to look at it. If you're sitting here listening to this podcast, especially this far, you need to look at it. Because our evolution, our ability to resolve our trauma and like actually resolve it in our physiological system it is connected to your family, period, because your physiological system is connected to their physiological system. You came from their system, especially your mother's. It's like you came from your mom and your dad. And so if you are running away from that, if you're not looking at that, you will be running away from it for the rest of your life, and you will wonder why you can't totally resolve your trauma because you're not going back to the root of the problem. You're choosing not to look at it. Again, super abusive situations, not recommending you run back into, at least not without professional help. But if you have healthy parents who love you, why are you not in communication with them? Why are you not cultivating a deeper relationship with them? Because the biggest thing that has been running through my mind, the biggest thing that got me to leave Michigan, other than the orchestration of a 12-hour drive and a 3-week experience and to get to go home, is the fact that if my mother died tomorrow, I wouldn't have felt like I had enough time with her. Even if my father died tomorrow, if either one of my brothers died tomorrow, like, I'm getting emotional about this, like, I couldn't live with myself being up there. And it is a prodigal daughter moment. Oh my gosh, is it a prodigal daughter moment? But I got to this point where I was like, there is healing that I cannot do without my family by my side in my process of doing this. And I'm not, we're not out here having deep conversations related to the family trauma necessarily. We are in joy. We are in excitement. We are in presence with each other. And I'm telling you that sometimes just joy and presence is more healing than going into the depths of the shadow. Like, I am all about going into the depths of the shadow. Like, girl, you don't have to tell me twice. Like, I will go there. But here's the thing. We are so obsessed as a collective in the world of personal development about going into the shadows that we have forgotten the joy that exists on the other side of trauma resolution. That we have gotten so obsessed with resolving our trauma, or so obsessed with unpacking it, or so obsessed with being wounded by it, that we don't even find joy in the actual resolution of it. And our family is, again, integral into that because they are the root from which it comes from. Wow. LOL. For somebody who had no idea what I was going to talk about, what a soapbox we got on here. If you've made it this far in this episode, I want to say thank you to you for being here. I feel largely complete at this point, and I really just want to share and implore you that if you are at a point in your healing journey where you feel like you're hitting a wall in your capacity to resolve your trauma, are you spending time with your family? Period. Because if you're not looking at that, if you're not being with them, either one, you will perpetually find yourself blocked in one way or another, because that being able to be with my family and be with them in presence and in joy, it's not always joy, but at least to be in presence and in my authenticity has been one of the most palpably healing things for me and my nervous system and my family. I think everybody in my family can tell you that we as a unit, despite having divorced parents, are a stronger unit because of my choice to move home. Because of my choice to also be here for as long as I have been. Now, I really, on some levels, a little unconscious choice in that regards. I don't think I really would have chosen to be here this long, but also there's no way in hell I would have been able to actually get through this year of 2024 without being present to my family and without being here in Roanoke and being more grounded, really. Like, me not being grounded would have made this situation even more worse. And honestly, like, I honestly wouldn't have been able to do it. Like, I wouldn't be here. I'd be sitting here, truly. And yeah, that's the message for today. Love your family, man. And like, honestly, it's not even about loving your family, but this is true Cancerian energy right now. Cancer, full Cancer vibes. Like, I guess Cancer season will be over by the time this podcast drops, but this is full Cancer. Like, you gotta go back to the roots. And honestly, going to the real roots of it is where the actual fruit is bared. And I speak that from great experience. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon. I love you.